So I'm Stacy Nakel, and I'm here with Jeffrey Harvey and John Stitt, otherwise known as Sinclair and Carly Marks. We're really excited to have you in Austin in July, and I think not that many people in Austin know about your work, so we'd like to give them a little bit of a taste.
And because both of us happen to be in the same graduate program and both happen to have a history with drag artistry, and we both happen to be friends and peer mentees and peer mentors of one another. So we thought that we might want to do something a little unorthodox and funky and really transgressive. And that was the initial sort of connection about thinking about how drag as a practice can really map onto a lot of psychoanalytic concepts. And from there, we started to think about drag as like a performance that's not just singular to the drag artist, but the actual performance of drag in which there is a venue and there is an audience and there are so many people that are interplaying in the space. And that's what sort of brought the group relations piece into it.
Mm.
I don't want to speak for a lot of people, but I have been into a couple of conferences before. They can get a little dull. And I think that's pretty indicative of the ivory tower, especially when it comes to social sciences and critical theory. I think sometimes we can get so lost in the theory and the concepts that it can get a little removed or maybe less accessible. And what I found was really, really cool with us presenting at AGPA Connect for the first time is that we were able to have those intellectual pieces that people seem to really, respect and respond to while they were still having fun, while they were still being engaged, while they were still being entertained, and while they were tapping into something within themselves just by our own presence and presentation.
Mm.
That was really touching to me.
I think
Yeah.
every time we have the opportunity to go to a professional conference and do something that's really out of the norm, present in drag, do like a drag show as part of our presentation. It really opens up this space that for so long has been kind of like inaccessible, super rigid, super like traditionally academic, and do something different with it. We really want to like camp up the space, queer it up, which is something that is really one of the core pieces of the way we like to engage people in learning about these ideas that we want to share.
We initially made the connection between like drag and sex and like drag and sexuality. So we had made a proposal for the APA Division 39 spring meeting, grounding the fact that drag is a queer art form and is a cornerstone of queer culture. And in times of conservatism and in times of repression, queer people are obviously targeted in those instances. But the thing about that is that queer people have always existed and have always persisted. And so I think that's where the joy is sort of ignited and activated.
One of the other things we talk about in our presentation is how drag is a community art form, how it's a sisterhood. And so when I think about, what are the goals of repression, what are the things that are kind of being taken away, there's so much resistance in still having queer joy and engaging in, these like traditional queer art forms that are so powerful and so connecting to the community. And there's something about drag where there's always been kind of like this, it's always been on the fringes.
Mhm.
There's always been some level of pushback
Mhm.
to drag. And so it's kind of so fierce to be able to be like, you are over there hating on me, and I'm still having a great time in my wig and my heels,
Making
like
money.
making money. Like that's a powerful statement. Part of this is going to be we're going to run a demo group. So hopefully we'll have some ability to really show some like interventions live and in person.
Mm.
We're gonna talk about, how to use this interactively. So we the goal of our presentation really is to ground us in the theory, what we're thinking happens internally for each person in the group, how this impacts the group as a whole, and then move it into like a little bit of a practical, playful, fun space where we can try things out, see what works, see what doesn't, learn all sorts of new things, just really experiment with it, which is a lot of what drag is throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Okay. Okay.
Hopefully, if you love drag and you show up, you have a space where it's fun to learn and like do all these things. If you don't love drag or have no experience with drag and you show up, hopefully we like make this accessible. So it's like fun to get to meet and know a couple drag queens.
Okay. All right. When you come in July, can we expect a dance performance?
Maybe one or two.